In this video, we'll walk you through the 10-step process that each of us use to build wealth.
So let's start with step number 1, which is to get organized.
Now, we both firmly believe that you can't make good financial decisions without good data. That's why the first step is to create an income statement and net worth statement for yourself.
There are lots of ways that you could do this today. You could use Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or automated services like Mint.com or Personal Capital. It doesn't matter which way you choose. What matters is that you get accurate data.
Moving on to step 2, which is to get proper insurance coverage. Now, there's a lot of different types of insurance out there, but a few that we think are absolutely essential are health insurance, home/renter's insurance, and auto insurance.
If you have dependents like children or anyone else counting on you for income, life insurance is a must. And we also believe that you should consider things like umbrella, identity theft, and disability insurance.
Why are we so heavily focused on insurance right now? That's because insurance is a wonderful way to cap your downside exposure, financially speaking.
While it may seem silly to worry about something terrible happening to you, it's important to know that over a long enough time frame, and we hope that you live for a very long time, you're almost guaranteed to have something happen that will require you to have insurance.
Now, just because we want you to have insurance doesn't mean that we want you to overpay for it. Thankfully, there are tools available today that make shopping for insurance very easy. One such tool is Policy Genius, but there's a number of wonderful tools out there that make it easy for you to save money on insurance.
Step number 3 is to align your spending with your own personal values.
This is why step 1, which is to get organized, is so important. Once we have useful data, we can look back at our spending to see how our money is being allocated. Then we can ask ourselves a very important question. Is the way that I'm spending my money bringing fulfillment to my life? If the answer is yes, that's good. If the answer is no in any way, that gives you room to cut.
And notice that we said align spending, not just cut spending, because we believe it's worth spending money on the things that do bring us joy.
Now it's time to get into the meat of it, which is step 4, to create a starter emergency fund.
So what does a starter emergency fund mean? That means that you should have enough cash set aside to pay all of your expenses for 1 month with absolutely no income.
By setting aside 1 month of expenses in cash, you are creating some financial wiggle room in your life so you can handle a small emergency that comes your way.
Next, let's move to step 5, which is paying off high interest debt. Now, what does high interest debt mean? For us, that means any interest where you're paying over 7% that's not your mortgage.
Now, both Brian and I are huge fans of investing, so it might surprise you that we're suggesting you pay off your high interest debt first, but we think that's the right thing to do.
There's a reason Albert Einstein famously said that the compounding was one of the most powerful forces in the world, but with high interest debt, compounding works against you. You have to take care of that before you start investing and making it work for you.
So what's the best way to pay off your debt? Well, there's 2 popular schools of thought. The first is called the snowball method. The idea here is you start by paying off your smallest balance debt first, eliminate it, and then move on to your next smallest debt, compounding your way up until all your debt is paid off.
An alternative approach is the avalanche method. Here, you focus on the balance that has the highest interest rate. You pay that off first and then work your way down to the balance with the lowest interest rate.
Now, there are pros and cons to each method, and we don't have a strong preference with which way you should go, but we do think that you should make paying off debt a priority.
Step 6 is to take full advantage of your employer match. This is as close to free money as you will find in the world today.
A lot of employers in the United States incentivize their workers to save for retirement by offering to match a portion of their funds that they invest into their 401k or 403b. This is akin to your employer giving you free money to pay for your retirement, and we think you should take full advantage of it.
Step number 7 has us returning to the emergency fund. Only this time we're building out a full emergency fund. How much does that mean for you? Well, most pundits will say you need 3 to 6 months expenses, but we've devised a different way of looking at it.
Everyone's life situation is differently. Some people can get by with a small emergency fund if they have no dependents, they could easily get a new job, and they have multiple sources of income. On the other hand, if you have a single source of income, you have many dependents, your industry is troubled or dying, and you only have one source of income, we think you should have at least a 6-month emergency fund, if not longer.
Step number 8 focuses on one of the most underappreciated accounts in America, and that is the Health Savings Account, or HSA. Please note, this is not the same as a flex spending account.
HSAs are the only triple tax-free account that exists in America. Here's how it works. When you put money into an HSA, you get an immediate tax deduction.
As your money grows because it's invested, you pay no taxes on capital gains.
And when you take the money out, as long as you use it to pay for qualified medical expenses, there's no taxes on distribution at all.
Not everyone will qualify for an HSA. To do so, you need to have a high deductible health plan, not be claimed as a dependent by anyone else, or eligible for Medicaid or Medicare. That said, if you pass these hurdles, considering an HSA is a no-brainer.
It's time to contribute to an IRA, either a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA.
Without getting too much into the weeds, each one of these accounts has tax benefits. Now, in 2023, you can contribute $6,500 to a combination of traditional and Roth IRAs, a little bit more if you're close to retirement age. In a Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the money you put in. It grows tax-free, and once you hit 59 and a half, you can pull money out and never pay taxes on it again.
By contrast, when you contribute to a traditional IRA, you score an immediate tax benefit and the money grows tax-free. However, you will have to pay taxes on any distributions later in life.
We don't think there's one right way to go about it, but we will say that contributing to a Roth makes a lot of sense earlier in your career because your tax rates are usually lower.
On the flip side, traditional IRAs tend to be smart choices for people that are in a high tax bracket now and expect to be in a lower tax bracket in the future.
All right, let's move on to step number 9, which is putting money away for your children's education.
Now, you should skip this step if you don't have any dependents in your life, but if you do and you plan on sending them to college down the road, it's time to start prepaying for those expenses now.
In general, there are 3 different types of accounts that are worth researching. They are UGMA accounts, 529 plans, and Coverdell education savings accounts. They all have different requirements, different pros and different cons, and they're worth investigating.
Okay, now it's time for the last step, which is step 10, and we break this up into 3 major parts. Step 10A is to go back and eliminate any low interest debt that you have, including paying off your house.
Now, on paper, this might not make a whole lot of sense because your house might have a much lower interest rate than the rate of return in the stock market. But there are other, more important emotional benefits to consider.
One of the biggest pros in the favor of paying off your mortgage early is that you can truly become debt-free. And this also permanently eliminates one of your largest fixed expenses that you have.
Let's say that step 10A isn't for you, or you already completed it. Then you can move on to step 10B, which is investing in a taxable investment account, where you can do the picking of your own stocks.
Or you could go with step 10C, which is to go back and max out your 401k. Why don't we talk about maxing out your 401k earlier? Well, some people have high fees and terrible investment choices in their 401k. So maxing it out earlier isn't necessarily a no-brainer.
Maxing out your 401k will also tie up money and not allow you to pull it out until you reach a certain age without penalty. And the same cannot be said for a non-tax advantaged regular old brokerage account.
So there you have it. Those are the 10 steps that both Brian and I have followed to build wealth in our own lives.
Now, knowing what to do is one thing, but actually doing it is quite another, and we want to help you get there. That's why we've created an email-based course to help you secure financial wellness. If you're interested in that, simply click the link in the video description below.
We hope you enjoyed this video. Brian's out.